like to introduce Rob Johnson from TruPlace, and they are going to be showing you how you can create great photos and then also have floor plans to show your house, show your properties. And all up to you now, Rob. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Janet. So, well, hello, everybody, and I appreciate everybody taking time to sit in on this presentation. For those of you that aren't familiar with TruPlace, TruPlace is the vacation rental industry leader in interactive floor plans. We use smart touch floor plans combined with professional photography to provide your guests with a much richer visual experience, and also that translates into a much faster booking process for them and for your reservation agent. So the improved listing quality gives renters the confidence now to make a quicker decision, and it's been proven to increase your conversion rates. So, you know, a lot of times we're asked, well, all that sounds great, but what is the process? How do you incorporate, or how can we incorporate interactive floor plans for our company? So this webinar was designed to answer that question. And so with that, bear with me one second here. So with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the processes and how the floor plans are created and generated and ultimately end up on your website for your guests to use. So a little history about TruPlace. Company's just a little over 10 years old. We have done over 4 million photographs and 42,000 tours in production. So we have just a little over 140 clients in the vacation rental space, not only in the United States, but we have them in Costa Rica, and looking to expand that obviously into other regions as well. So that's a little bit of the short history of TruPlace. And so this next slide here is kind of our agenda. We're going to talk about, you know, getting it done, and so that involves everything from client onboarding to the on-site implementation to tour creation and linking, and then also to the client advocacy after everything's up and running. And so again, like Janice said, if you guys have questions, if you'll just jot them down, and then at the very end we'll take 5 minutes or so to answer any questions that you guys might have. Okay. So this next slide, the onboarding process. If you were to come on as a client and decide to do the photography and the floor plan, everything starts with a kickoff call with myself or one of the other sales guys, your client advocate, and the onboarding specialist, and all the people from your company that are involved. And at that time, the expectations and timelines are set for the scheduling, because obviously there's a big process of coordinating your vacancy to the photographers being on site to do the floor plans and to take the photos. And then also, when that process is all completed, there's a lot of photo-ready tips, some of the best practices that we follow to make sure that we do the absolute best, help you guys represent your properties through these interactive floor plans the best that we possibly can. Okay. So the other thing that accomplishes is the API integration with Barefoot at that time. So again, the client advocate and the onboarding specialist will work with you guys to make sure that's all a very seamless process for you guys to go through, and it's pretty straightforward and simple. Okay. So, jump the slide too fast. So in this slide, the on-site implementation, TruPlace, we provide the trained staff. So the photographers, the professionally trained photographers are additionally trained by us to know how to take photos that are appealing for the vacation rental industry. So it's not just somebody that comes in and just snaps a lot of photos. They know exactly the correct angles and the different views and the different rooms to use to do that, and then also to create the accurate floor plans, which they draw to scale, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. And then also to take just a ton of photographs, all HDR photographs of the property, so that when we put together the floor plans with the photos, we know we have enough views and tremendous shots of the property itself to include in that floor plan. Okay, so that's the on-site implementation. The sketches here, so basically I just want to show you kind of like what the photographer sends in as the floor plan sketch. And right here, this is an example. They draw it to scale on graph paper, as you can see. And that's kind of how your floor plan is submitted to us, or it is exactly how it's submitted to us, to our production team. And then they digitize this by retracing it in the CAD system that we use to create the floor plans. So that's a little bit of the behind-the-scenes magic, how that works. The professional photography, again, I just kind of touched on that a little bit about the network of photographers that we have that are dedicated, training with a dedicated training and development manager. So they continue to use the best practices that we uncover during the photography to make sure, again, that we get the absolute best photos that we can get to represent your property. So the time it takes a photographer when they're on site to do an average 3 to 5 bedroom home is in the range of about 3 hours. So that's time to arrive, complete the floor plan sketch, complete the photography, and then to transmit that for publication to the production team back at our headquarters in Gaithersburg. So that's what happens along those lines. And then this next slide, if I can get my slide to move. There we go. Is to talk to you about HDR. A lot of folks ask us, well, we have great photography, but it's not HDR, so, what's the difference? Well, the difference in HDR photography, you can see I've kind of got this shaded with number 1, number 2, and number 3 across the top. The way HDR works is number 1 represents just the standard photo. And then number 2 represents that same photo in a darker image. And then number 3 represents it in a lighter image. And so what it does is it basically takes all 3 of those photos and combines them into one really, really good, perfect photo. So HDR, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, you can see how crisp and clear everything is. The thing to really take a look at is where you can see out the sliding glass windows. You can actually see the beach. You see the detail out there on the chairs on the deck and stuff. So it's like looking through the windows. And without HDR, a lot of times those windows appear white, and you really don't get a view without having HDR. So the HDR reaches out deeper, grabs the ocean color, and really makes what we consider a perfect image. So we think that's very important to this process as well. Let's see. The next thing is that when the photos are submitted for processing, even if we take a picture on a cloudy day, we can turn the gray sky blue, right? So we can do the processing, blue sky processing. So on the left is the photo taken on what looks to be an overcast day, and then when we apply that process, the blue sky process, you can see how it changes that photo, obviously dramatically, which is pretty cool. So this next slide is when the production is complete and your client advocate, you will receive an email letting you know that the tour for this particular unit is complete, and you then can have that embedded onto your website, what we call this floor plan widget or a tour link. And what happens at that point is the guests can obviously click on that, and they are then taken to the floor plan. And it's an interactive floor plan right here that, as they hover over and move their mouse over or use their finger in our smart touch technology on a tablet, it will show those photos instantly. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take you guys to a live tour. So just bear with me 1 second as I jump to that. And this is one of our clients up in Stowe, Vermont. And it's obviously a ski resort. And I'm just going to kind of show you now how this actually works. So as I move my mouse into this master bedroom or master bath, I can see that photo, really nice. Then there's a tub and shower. We move over into the master bedroom, see that. And then the little red dots represent another view of that same area. So just kind of from the left corner, right corner view, there's a balcony, so we can go see that. then we can also see the different views from that balcony, which are pretty nice. Move into the kitchen space, and you see how the photos just instantly appear. There's no lag time. There's no waiting. I know a lot of folks, in the past have used those 360 virtual tours, and there's, 4 to 5 minutes of load time for that to come up, and a lot of times folks will drop off at that point. But, in looking at this, put yourself in your guest position, your potential guest position when they're surfing on your website, and they have a million questions about the layout, the bedroom configurations. There's 3 families coming. Where are the Johnsons going to be? Where are the Smiths going to be? And the person coordinating this can obviously, get a very good idea of the accommodations that are appropriate for that, for the party. And so let me just take you to another level of the home. And here we can see we've got another master bedroom. We've got, views of that. We've got the showers. There's a walk-in closet, the hallway, the garage, and so on. So it's really important for them to be able to plan in their mind the bedding configurations, and also, back on that previous level, looking at the kitchen, is the dining room area big enough, and so forth. So that's all provided. And then also it's important that there's exterior views, the interior views, and there's even a slideshow that we provide that you can use here or on your website for you to share with your guests. So that's kind of that's how the floor plan actually works from a guest perspective when they're on your website, looking for the accommodation. So there's that part. It's also very, very important, as we all know now, that mobile technology is taking over the world, and so all of our interactive floor plan tours are basically responsive in the fact that they will fit appropriately no matter the mobile device, tablet, desktop, laptop, no matter how they view the floor plan, it's always going to be there. And the smart touch technology really comes into play on the tablets and the phones. So that's by using your finger versus a mouse on a desktop or a laptop. So that's how that works. Very important that we're mobile responsive that way. Just a little bit more to talk about, your client advocacy. So there's so many companies out there, and I know Barefoot follows this logic as well, and that is that you really, when you bring someone on as a client, that you really take care of them through the entire process, and then ongoing as the relationship continues. And so it's very important that, a client advocate, somebody that you can have as your go-to person that will help you review the usage through the analytics, the integration with our partners such as Barefoot, and the tour usage. They just really want to make sure that you guys are getting the maximum out of the service and work that you guys receive. So just can't say enough about it's not a plug-and-play system, that there's obviously an ongoing relationship with plenty of support from both Barefoot and us. So share that with you guys. And then this next slide here is just an example of the analytics that we have in our client portal. So there's actually an admin portal that you would be able to access, and you can see a lot of the different data regarding your interactive tours and how they've been viewed. And so there's a little date range module up at the top. You can set the date range, and you can view how many visits by that date range, where that traffic came from. Did it come from your website organically, or did it come through some of your integration partners? Visits by the hour of the day, and then also, visits by the weekday. And one of the interesting things that, that the data shows a lot is that when people are visiting, when you're looking at by the hour, it's important that, if you send everybody out to lunch at 12 o'clock, you can see that's a pretty high time for folks to be inquiring. So you may want to consider your reservation agent schedule and split that up instead of sending everybody out so you get the phone coverage, because a lot of folks look at stuff at lunchtime, right? Also then down at the bottom we show you this map, and we show you where those inquiries are coming from. And again, it's by date range. And you can see when you get a lot of hits from a particular area, like this is the Baltimore, Washington metro area, and if you click on that in the analytics, it opens up and shows a ton of the pins as to where the stuff came from. So we feel it's very important that you guys are able to track where this stuff comes from, so that you have the opportunity to analyze your data appropriately. So the client portal is also very important because this is where we can communicate with you. If you guys come on as a new client, we have a work in progress type of chart where you can see units that have been done, units are in process. You can also, upload images if you'd like. You can add images to the floor plans, and you can also download those images to use in other marketing pieces and so on. So, this basically is about our next to last slide, and really what this is just showing you is that inside of Barefoot, that TruPlace is a partner, and if you want to turn on the API so that one of the things I forgot to mention on the last slide was in that API with Barefoot that the photos can really seamlessly flow from our client portal to your website. So whenever there's a photo change, let's just say we had to come out and do a reshoot, and we took 10 new pictures of a room that was remodeled in a home. When you add those to the client portal, or when we add them to the client portal, they will seamlessly flow to your website so that you're saving your team, the time of having to download and upload and replace images, when they're outdated or need to be changed. So that's really, guys, the quick, 10, 15-minute overview of the TruPlace, process from beginning to end and the onboarding. And so now we're at that point. If you guys would like to ask any questions, certainly, take your phones